Hello, 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 hello. Happy Wednesday. Let's see. Is it live? No, it's live now. Hello, happy Wednesday. Hello. March the 8th, happy International Women's Day. Celebrating all of you women, the contributions you make, the lives that you lead, the lives you affect, the communities you help, the businesses you grow, the governments you run, just all that you do, and all of those of you who support women in this world doing their thing. And yay, 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 yay! Goodness. Okay, I'm here. We're here, and we're live. And the hair is wild. I used a different product today, so I tried to make it better, but it is what it is. If you have curly hair, you know what I'm talking about, right? Sometimes curly, I guess all hair is that way, but sometimes curly hair really is that way. I take a deep breath today. Deep breath. I don't know how you're feeling. I don't know if it's full moon energy or if it's Wednesday energy or March kind of start, stop, spring, winter. It just feels disjointed to me. Today feels a little disjointed. So I'm gonna take a minute and roll my shoulders back and put my feet flat on the floor. And I invite you to do the same. Just take a deep breath, take a deep sigh, release anything that is not serving you, that is not yours, that does not belong to you. Claim everything that does. Take another breath and receive it and take it all in. There, that's better. That is better. Today, I wanted to talk for a few minutes with you all about trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. And do you trust yourself? And if you don't trust yourself, do you know that you don't trust yourself? And all those kinds of good things. I am in the process. I'm in the process of learning to trust myself. I do not always trust myself. I often second guess myself. I have always often second guessed myself. I have learned in my 48 years, though, to trust this is what I've learned. I have learned that I am to trust myself. And I have learned that the thing to do is to trust my first instinct, my first thought, my first desire, my first preference. That is what I am to trust. And when I act on those instincts, thoughts, preference, guidance, decision, my initial one, things usually go pretty well. And that, you might as well, right? Because you can spend time being lost in clarification, trying to get help, trying to get advice from others, trying to reassure yourself that you're right. And you're in the bushes. You're off the road and in the bushes. You're in the weeds. And you might as well just not waste the time being there. That said, I do waste plenty of time being there. So, yeah, it happens. Learning to trust yourself is really key to realizing any dream that you have, any project that you have in mind, any desire that you want to bring forth in this world, whether it's for you or for your children, for your community, something that you have. If you're watching me, you probably are thinking about the next best version of yourself, the next thing that you're creating, it could be anything, right? It could be something in your business, it could be something in your personal life, it could be a vacation, it could be just your vision for a nicer home, or for you to show up more fully yourself in your life. So if you're watching me, you have that in you, because I have that in me, and that's no doubt why we're connecting. And if you do, you've got to get to a place where you trust yourself. And it's almost like don't listen to anybody else, right? Blinders. Listening to yourself. If you ever listen to or read anything, if it's someone who's, that you admire, they could be an artist, could be a musician, could be someone in the public sphere, could be just someone in your life, could be your grandmother, right? But if you've had the opportunity to talk with them or to listen to them and how they live their life to create this greatness that you admire, I'm pretty sure that at some point in their journey and in their life, they learned to listen to themselves and to tune out everybody else. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about how we develop that self-trust and know and know that it's okay, that we know what's best for us, right? So I've had a lot of experiences in my life that I think have helped me develop it, but it's usually by the contrast, right? It's usually by the contrast of not having that self-trust or not having that self-confidence. I mean, you could reframe self-trust as confidence in yourself, belief in yourself. I don't think many of us come into the world with a tremendous amount of it. Some people do now. Some people really come in, I think, and they just feel very sure of who they are and solid in what they be. And you can see that. You can see that in young children or sometimes your occasional teenager. But, and anybody still will often go through a period of a life of doubt, not being sure. Usually comes with growth, right? You grow into a next space, and then you're reevaluating what you understand and what you know to be true and what skills you have and can you do it and all those things. And then, you can have a crisis in confidence or self-trust. But there's really only one way to build it, and that's just by getting out in the world and doing it. Just whatever it is you want. It doesn't matter. Do you know that? Like, it doesn't matter what you do. My sister, many years ago, one of my sisters, we were at her apartment, and somehow the toilet broke. I can't even remember what happened. I don't know how I know what it was. I think we were changing the toilet seat. I don't know why we were doing that. And we used a hammer. So, yeah, don't do that, right? So we used a hammer. It cracked the bowl. We had to replace it. It was over a weekend. And we decided to go to Lowe's and get a toilet and a tank, and we installed it ourselves. We were kind of young, and it's not something I particularly want to be doing in my life necessarily. I mean, if it needs to be done, I'll get it done. But it built such confidence in me because it was something I never thought, I never questioned, could I do it? Could I not do it? But it was like, oh, well, yes, I can do it. I do have the knowledge of where to go to get it. I can look up I can figure it out. I can make this work. And so often my building of my confidence has come in little funny, quirky spots like that. My daughter recently had a friend over. I might have already shared this story, but it really struck me, so I'm going to share it again. They were blowing up a exercise ball. And if you've ever blown something up, like with the power of your lungs. So my experience like this, again, has come with having kids, because you're blowing up a wading pool or a floaty or something like that. There is a period where you think you might die. You think that you might die, but you are giving so much of your lung capacity and so much power into the air, and you're like, I can do it. And it's not going, right? It's not going. It's just flat, 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 flat. And then, it puffs up, right? So my daughter and her friend were trying to, I think they had a ball pump. They had a pump. And they were trying to blow up this ball. And it was, nothing, 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 effort, 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 nothing, 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 effort, effort, effort. Can't do it, can't do it, we can't do it. Can you help us? No, can't. And, I think, I'll come back to this. I think it's particularly challenging as a parent, as a coach, as someone who wants to help people succeed, right? To not want to step in and give them a shortcut, teach them what you know, show them what you've done to get through that, right? We always want to do that. But I'll come back about that, because there's a very important point I want to make about that. But anyway, I resisted that. They kept working. I just encouraged them. I know you can do it, right? And I just, hold the vision that they can do this thing they want to do. It's just blowing up an exercise ball, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she wanted to become, a world famous ballerina. My job is to hold that vision for her, right? And to know in my heart that she can succeed. And so I did, and I walked back out to the kitchen and did whatever. And then, still we can't, no, and then suddenly it's going, wait, we got it. Hey, we did it. Yes, we're awesome. Whoa, here we go, right? And they're laughing and giggling, and they're feeling fantastic. So I think the key is you cannot underestimate the power of these moments in your life. And it doesn't matter if you're replacing a toilet, blowing up an exercise ball, tying your shoes, learning a foreign language, learning how to ski, learning whatever you're doing, learning how to cook something new, a new skill at your job, mastering a piece of software, that moment of like, and you're like surfing, like you're surfing on the wave of like mastery, right? You get the first glimpse of mastery, then you dip and build your skills and on like that. The more moments in your life that you create like that, the more trust in yourself you will have, the more confident you will be about your abilities, your ability to learn. We don't come into this life knowing how to do the things we want to do. Otherwise, why would we be here, right? And we can be so hard on ourselves about that. I don't know how to sell this. I don't know how to do that sport. I don't know how. Well, of course you don't. Well, maybe does. That's why we're here, right? We came here and we came here for that ultimate pinnacle, peak success moment. We came here for the ride along the way, right? The growth, the journey, the adventure, the pilgrimage, whatever you want to call it. We came for that building. And that's why, we can get so captured by stories. There was a beautiful story yesterday and I can't remember what account I saw it on, but it was Upworthy or maybe Good News Network. Anyway, someone had taught an uncle how to write. He'd never been to school, had to leave school, and he was able to write his grandchildren's names, and the smile on his face, I mean, it just reduced you to a puddle, right? It would just melt you right then and there. And we need to pay attention to moments like that when we are like, our hearts are full for someone else's achievement or someone else's growth, because it can be hard to create those for ourselves or hard to recognize that those are happening in our lives. And sometimes when we see that dramatic contrast, right? Someone who could not learn to read and write until, he was a grandfather, and then that joy that he had there, right? But we don't have to create in our own lives that kind of contrast. So contrast just makes it really obvious to us, really glaringly obvious. His pride and his achievement, his newfound trust in himself, his newfound confidence in his abilities, right? And so there was a big contrast. We don't have to have that much contrast, but we should pay attention to those moments. When we hear about them, when we see them, when we experience them, and take every opportunity to build that in ourselves. And that's where I kind of wanted to step in for a moment and speak, as a parent, as a coach, as someone who has, for the last 20 years or so, spent a significant amount of time working to help others achieve what they're after, right? And here's the thing. We all want to share our knowledge and our wisdom and our own mastery, right? We want it to be easier for the next generation. We want to give them a leg up. We want to, look, here's what I've got. You take that and you build the next greatest thing. And we should do that. Like, that's great. I'm not going to say should. We can do that. And I think it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. However, not to digress too far, I used to work in agriculture, and I feel like it's a pretty little known agency within USDA called it's the ATTRA, Appropriate Transfer of Technology for Rural America. I think that's what it stands for. I could be wrong, but it is appropriate transfer. And that place captures my imagination tremendously, because there's so much technology in agriculture, and then there's the farmers that you have and the land they're working with and what they're trying to produce. And that's kind of what I worked in a lot. It's like, how do you find that? What's the right technology, right? You can't, one of the most famous stories I always heard was how the Dutch were helping the involvement of the dairy industry, the improvement of the dairy industry in Kenya, right? And so they took their big Holstein cows and they sent them to Kenya. And there was not the grass. They did not have availability of the kind of grasses, the kind of foods available for because these are big. I don't know if you know cows at all. Holsteins are big, big, big cows. And they need a lot of food, a lot of feed, a lot of forage in order to maintain their body weight, in order to produce milk and that kind of thing. So it was an utter failure, right, to ship all these cows there. So it's not an appropriate transfer of technology. And I think that as we're helping others, I would always err on the side of let the struggle happen, right? Like, it's okay if people are struggling. It's okay if your child is struggling. It's okay if your client is struggling. It's okay if your coworker is struggling, because we always want to relieve the struggle, right? But in the struggle comes the growth. In the struggle comes the confidence, right? And when we step in with all of our skills, our mastery, our knowledge, we rob them of the experience of developing their confidence. And it can be painful to watch the struggle. And if it is too painful, as long as everyone's safe, right? We're not going to let anybody be in danger here. But if everyone's safe and you feel like, okay, it's safe, you may have to walk away. You may have to turn away. You may have to look away because the struggle may hurt your heart. And that we'll talk about that another day, why that's actually hurting your heart. But don't rob them of the opportunity to build that confidence because it's so, so, so important. So, goodness, we're already at like 15 minutes or so, but I wanted to give you an invitation today. And I also want to tell you about something I have coming up, which is going to be cool. But I wanted to, for a minute, just think about how would in the idea of building trust, right? And if we see our lives as a journey of progressively building more trust and more confidence in ourselves, at some point, we like to think we would fully trust and be confident in ourselves. Yeah? So how would your day be different? How would your week be different? How would your month be different? How would your hour be different? How would your minute be different? If you knew you were exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, that you have all the knowledge and skills and ability that you need to have for the next step in your life, that everything is precisely in place, right? That you are all that you need to be, you're right in the perfect position in your journey for your life with every resource that you need to have. But can you relax into that a little bit? Can you relax into that feeling that you have what you need to do what you want to go to the next place where you desire to be? Yeah, I would ask, again, we'll go back to the journaling we talked about last week, but yeah, ask yourself, like, how would your life be different? How would you feel differently? If you weren't striving or feeling that you were falling short or feeling a scarcity, whether that's of skill, of time, of money, right? What if everything is perfect right now? Have you ever looked back in your life? What my oldest son was recently discussing something with me recently, saying, well, last spring when I was in this situation and I had these people, like at the time I didn't realize it, but it was actually preparing me perfectly for where I am now with these people, right? But it took 6-8 months to understand that where you were was perfect. What if you could understand that where you are is perfect? What if you could jump 6 months in the future, 12 months in the future, 12 years in the future, 12, 2 decades, whatever it is, and realize that where you are right now is perfect. And so I wanted to just invite you this week as you go about your life and building your dream and taking care of your family and doing all the amazing things that you do, invite you to say, put your feet flat on the floor, roll your shoulders back, take a deep breath. I am right where I need to be. I have every skill that I need to have. I have all the knowledge that I have that I'm ready and able and prepared to take advantage of. And when I need more will be available to me. When I am ready for the next, it will be available to me. But right here and right now, I'm safe to move forward on the next steps of my journey because I have all that I need. I am all that I need. I have the right people around me, the right environment. Everything is poised for my success. Everything is set up for me, and I have all that I need in this moment to go to the next place in my life. And that is the invitation that I would like to make to you for this week, to approach your life and your work and your dream building from that place. And let me know what you think. And let me know if you did it. And let me know if you think it's a crock, right? Like if you think if you think I'm crazy, like, no, Jane, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong, here's wrong, blah, 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 blah. Like, tell me, because I want to hear. And then tell me if you do it, and let me know how it goes. And I want to give you a heads up, because I'm offering something in April that I'm super excited. We're going to be looking at how we can develop that trust and that confidence. I'm going to have a 4-week course in developing how to find out what you love. Right? How to find out, trusting yourself, trusting your preferences, trusting your passions and your desires, and to really discover what you love. So if you're a little bit lost in that whole process of like, I don't even trust the things that I like enough to believe that they are the path forward. We're gonna be taking a look, and I'll have more information on that. But I did want to just give you a heads up that that's going to be a really cool course, that I'm running in April, and there'll be more information about it right here on the Facebook page, and I'll let you know about it. Okay, take care. Have a wonderful week, and try resting in the knowledge and the awareness that you can trust yourself and that you have all that you need in order to move to the next place in your life. All right. Love you. Talk to you soon. See you next week.